Let's settle in, and we'll talk a little bit more today about right mindfulness. It's the quality, we're going to look at the quality of attention we call mindfulness, wise and right mindfulness. It's a more holistic way of attending. And that's, it sees and it feels, it understands and responds. Together with concentration, this quality of mindfulness, concentration steadies caring attention so that mindfulness can then begin to moment after moment observe and feel what is happening. Concentration, it steadies and it stabilizes. It calms and it soothes. It creates a port in the storm, a safe harbor from the open seas of a storm, you could say. It doesn't lead to insight. It leads to calm and steadiness. Mindfulness, the quality of mindful caring attention, it listens, it feels, it discerns by feeling how to see and how to relate well to what is happening. This is what leads to insight, to deeper understandings that lead us out of suffering. This is the kind of attention that is responsive to what arises, not reactive as Susan Morgan might be, but responsive with kind, caring attention, as if a dear friend was watching and listening to what was happening. As best as possible, that's what we orient toward. This attitude of dear friend is so different and pivotal because Susan's attitude is quite changeable at best. I may or may not be able or interested in being kind. But mindful caring attention, mindfulness is imbued with a quality of friendliness. It says, a little kinder, please. Remember, this attitude of dear friend just gets us into the vicinity of our starting point for practicing mindfulness. That's all it does, right? I shift out of Susan Morgan and I try to orient towards something that's a little kinder, a little gentler, a little more interested and caring about how it feels in here, how it feels out there, that. And we're learning the terrain of this heart-mind. We're learning to play the instrument. We're learning how to cultivate this quality of dear friend. And it keeps being echoed back to us. Dawn echoed it back to us through Bhikkhu Analayo, through the suttas, through the Buddha's teachings. This attitude of dear friend is the atmosphere we create and out of which we practice. Sati, the term for mindfulness, means remembering to remember to bring mindfulness to mind. That's the hardest part of the practice. Remembering to remember to bring mindfulness to mind. But that means, and that implies, remembering to bring the heart mind to mind. The heart brings the attitude. The mind brings attention. Together, they do the work. Together. They both have to be on the scene in order for mindfulness to be in operation. So when we set up our meditation practice, when we set up, as Bill and I like to say, the internal aspect of the holding environment, we do our best to tune in, to attune the heart and the mind to the frequency of caring attention, like we were adjusting the dial on a knob to that frequency of, oh yes, caring attention like this. And in our modern world, we have to deliberately consider the heart. Oh, the mind is so easy for us. Thinking is easy. That's our way. That's our go-to. But we easily and often can forget and overlook the heart aspect altogether. Consider what it is like when you're doing the bills, right? When the brow is furrowed and the mind is tight and the heart, well, it's kind of shut off when we're doing the bills, right? Sure, we're concentrating in the colloquial sense, but not in the Buddhist sense. Sure, we're holding the object steady. Sure, we're moving through the task, mindfully getting it done, but there's no heart involved there. No heart. Now consider what it is like when you're watching your pet play. Can you feel the shift in how we attend when we watch our pets playing? How easily it is to watch them run around, and how we can track the movements. We're attentive to them. That is the object of our attention, them playing. And we watch the tracking of those movements with great ease. Why? Well, there's lots of joy and interest around. This moves us a little closer into that direction of what it means to be mindful, that posture of mindfulness. But let's say you are doing the bills and you notice that kind of furrowed brow concentrating. Well, when we notice that's a function of mindfulness. The noticing, oh, wow, look at that. Look at my brows all tight. Look at that. Mindfulness is seeing my tightness. Mindfulness is feeling in and noticing how I'm contracting around the task that I'm doing. Mindfulness can feel the discomfort. Right? That's good. That's great. Mindfulness has done its job. Now let's take a breath. Let's take a breath. Come on back in, bring that attention, tether that attention, tether the breath down through the body onto the ground. Right? Now we can feel the body sitting in the chair, feel the body standing or in whatever posture it is in. Now we can sense the weight, the location, the pressure points of the contact of the body making contact with the ground or the chair, the hard surfaces. Good. Let it resettle into calmer stability. Just that. This is creating now a posture of stillness. Right there, I just took a breath, noticed I was, furrowing my brow, took a breath, relieved, moved my attention from that, and now brought it inside. And inside now, mindfulness can track the ripples of sensation that are passing through, the effects of doing the bills on this body, this mind right now. That's what mindfulness is doing. Oh, look at that. Mindfulness, seeing that, can now caringly attend to what is being seen. Because it's listening in, it's tuning in, it senses, oh, wow, my hands are tight, my breathing is shallow. And as I keep taking these breaths and steadying myself and feeling those ripples pass through, it starts to restabilize again. And I've been tracking these sensations right back into something calmer. This is what we're doing in the practice. Now, one final little example. I loved when Bill brings up the image of the sunset, when I was looking at the sunset, because it's such an easy one for us to recognize this difference. What does it feel like when you're standing outside or standing at a window looking out at the sunset? Can you feel that? There's an ease and an openness, a kind of steadiness of attending. We don't want to turn away. It's only there for a few more minutes, and we want to watch and drink in every moment. Can you feel how we're holding that object steady? That's the function of concentration. The sky is in my view, and I'm holding it steady there. But then within that frame, mindfulness is noticing the clouds moving through and the colors as they keep changing and shifting, and that big ball of red that keeps slowly moving down to the horizon line. Mindfulness is tracking all of that. This is mindfulness at work, tracking and feeling. So you see, in any given moment, whatever we are doing, concentration and mindfulness are both at work. It's just with different concentrations, you could say, different strengths and different functions. And as the practice progresses, as we get our bearings, we learn which kind of attention, and this is the art of the practice, we learn which kind of attention would be more useful in any given moment. Right now, having just pulled my head out of the bills, well, maybe it might be nice to kind of just steady myself a little bit, smooth it out in there, and begin again, right? Or maybe I might feel like, no, the mind is a little spacing out, and I might just want to gently corral the mind to that moment to moment. Now, what is this question asking me? Let me stay right there. Mindfulness, tracking moment to moment, what's happening? Like the changing sunset, like the cats playing, like finishing a task. Which would be more useful? What kind of attention would be more useful? We're learning both. This is an art. This is a skill. The learning is more nuanced as we move along in the practice. And as we do this, we're learning how to not get overwhelmed and how to not space out, but how to stay present to what is really happening as we are tuning in to the experience of well-being and safety. Right? We can do this. This is actually something the Buddha often said in the suttas. He would point to the fact that we can do this. He would say, I wouldn't ask you to do this if it couldn't be done. Not by a Buddha, not by some very enlightened person, but by you and me. We can do this. And it's for our welfare.